So IGN just had their showing of Dragon Age The Veilguard, mage gameplay with commentary from the developers. This is the latest showing of the several reveals that have taken place, showcasing the Dragon Age The Veilguard game. And despite what some people might believe, I generally try to be open-minded and try to be as neutral as possible. But I also have to be honest. This was the worst showcasing of the game thus far. At least with the initial action-packed Disney-esque trailer, it was just a trailer. It was not showing gameplay per se. This was just plain boring. But there were several other issues as well. Let me first mention the positives. The positives, once again, were the environments. The environments look pretty good. They look interesting. But unfortunately, that's where I have to stop. I simply cannot for the life of me get over the character models. They look like they're made of Play-Doh, and here, even worse than that, it's very apparent that they have issues with the rigging in the faces. The eyes just look off. They kind of look like they're dead. And the faces are really giving me Mass Effect Andromeda vibes. You know, the sort of my face is tired type? Now, admittedly, some of these issues existed 10 years ago in Dragon Age Inquisition, but 10 years have passed. It's 2024, and I think it's not unreasonable to have greater expectations in terms of what we see in the faces. I hate to bring it up, and I don't want to suggest that Baldur's Gate 3 is a direct competitor with Dragon Age, but if you look at the facial expressions, their expressiveness, and just how authentic and real the faces look in Baldur's Gate 3, compared to this, it's mind-boggling. And we keep on hearing a lot about the much-vaunted character creator, and I will reserve judgment on that. But the byproducts of this character creator, some of them are giving me uncanny valley vibes. And I'm sorry for just bringing this up constantly, but the character models don't look good. There's something off about them, fundamentally. And it's important in an RPG, or an action RPG in this case, that the characters not only look aesthetic, which many of them don't, but also look realistic and fit the environment. The environment in this case looks leagues better than the characters we see in this trailer. And on top of this, this was meant to showcase or market mage combat. Now, unlike a lot of people, I'm not obsessed with mages. I'm probably going to play a warrior at the end of the day, but they could have done a better job of that as well. And I'm going to be perfectly honest again, the vibe I get from this, the overall vibe, is one of AA. And there's nothing wrong with AA games. I love AA games. In fact, some of my favorite games of all time are AA. But this is BioWare, empowered by EA, and what they're showing to us does not look like a AAA game. If you compare the appearances and character models with games such as God of War or God of War 2, just looking at the presentation, the aesthetics, and even the gameplay, this was not an impressive showing, and I'm not alone in these thoughts. Several people on my Discord server seem to have similar views of this, and so increasingly what I would say is that Dragon Age The Veilguard is becoming a play-it-for-the-story type of game, potentially. The story might still be good. In fact, they reveal some spoilers, minor spoilers, in the trailer regarding Gilhanane and her interest in using the Blight as a tool for shaping her minions, specifically the Darkspawn, although we could already read that and interpret that from the things they've shown to us thus far. And so yes, that's interesting, but it's hard to be deeply interested in a story when you don't have the aesthetics and the rest of the things that are supposed to accompany the story matching up with the story appropriately. Now, this game is going to be released on the 31st of October, and you can tell that the facial animations are either bad or broken, or this is an older build, who knows. But they're either going to have to patch things up massively within the first couple of weeks, or I don't know what to expect. From my current vantage point right now, as someone who is attached to some degree to the story of Dragon Age overall over the series, I'm finding it increasingly difficult to muster the enthusiasm and excitement that seems to be on display with other people. So I don't know what to think. Overall, I was disappointed by this. Again, in my opinion, the worst showing thus far. But I guess we'll have to wait and see until the game actually releases and look at the other things, such as the character creator, which they've promised to show us at some point in time. So I just don't know what to think anymore. But it's certainly not a warm, bubbly feeling that I have right now. Quite the opposite. So I hope we're actually in for a massive surprise on October 31st. Well, there you have it. My honest take on what I've just seen in terms of this reveal. But regardless, thank you for tuning in, as always. And if you like my content and my takes, you can subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share the video. It's much appreciated. Until the next time, take care.